King's Dominion is a beautiful park that is home to some world-class roller coasters like Intimidator 305, Twisted Timbers, and Dominator. And here is how King's Dominion's 13 different coasters stack up from worst to best. Number 13, the Great Pumpkin Coaster. This is the perfect coaster for beginners. Now on to number 12, Anaconda. This classic steel roller coaster is still standing at the time of this video, and that's just unfortunate. Opening in 1999, Anaconda was built by the legendary Aerodynamics, but sadly this coaster is anything but legendary. I will say though that the ride setting and placement is beautiful, and when you visit King's Dominion you have to take a ride on this foreign version coaster because how often do you ride a ride that offers a tunnel that goes underwater? Number 11, Woodstock Express. Do not let the size of King's Dominion's family wooden coaster fool you. This small scale family coaster really is a ton of fun, especially when you ride it in the very back row. In my opinion, the Woodstock Express offers a better ride experience than Anaconda because it's smooth and at least you know that you're not going to get a headache. And did you know that you can find this almost exact ride at Kings Island, Carowinds, and Canada's Wonderland? Number 10, Apple Zapple. Built by Mock Rides and opening in 2002, Apple Zapple offers a great layout full of 180-degree turns, drops, and plenty of smiles. While it's pretty common to visit a park that offers a Wild Mouse style coaster, I really do enjoy Apple Zapple due to its extended and larger layout than what most parks offer. Number 9, Timbili. This S&S free spin was a great filler coaster for King's Dominion as we await the highly anticipated volcano replacement. And if you're curious about what that could be, then you definitely want to check out this video here. And for your convenience, you can find a link for that video in the description of this one. Timbili is a very short ride, but it's a lot of fun. I really do love the theming of the supports and the name that King's Dominion went with for their S&S free spin. I honestly just wish that you flip upside down a lot more during your ride. Now keep in mind that these King's Dominion roller coaster rankings are based on my opinion, and I've ridden each of these rides dozens of times. Number 8. The Backlot Stun Coaster. While this coaster might not be the most pleasant looking one at the park, and let's be honest, it is ugly and doesn't fit in with the surrounding area around it. But Backlot does deliver a fun ride that is filled with quick turns, a few minor spots of airtime, 2 launches, some decent theming, and a great tunnel, making it a great family coaster because it's only 45 feet tall and has a max speed of 40 miles an hour. Number 7, Reptilian. Unfortunately, bobsled coasters are harder to come by these days. These antique coasters really are a thing of beauty since the train isn't technically secure to the track below and offer a fun out-of-control ride experience, especially when you ride it in the very last car. Trust me, that is the best spot to sit on Reptilian. Seriously, Reptilian is a must ride when you visit King's Dominion due to the uniqueness of the ride and it's just plain fun. Number 6, Racer 75. Built in 1975 by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company, this 3,368 foot long racing coaster offers some amazing airtime, large and small hills, and just a plain old fun coaster experience. While not every time you ride you're going to get the racing effect, Racer 75 is one of the most enjoyable rides you're going to find at King's Dominion. And one of my favorite things about riding Racer 75 are the views that you're able to get of Intimidator 305 as you're traveling towards the park's Giga Coaster. Number 5, Flight of Fear. I often feel as if this premier launch indoor coaster gets overlooked. Like, who doesn't love a good premier Spaghetti Bowl launch coaster, especially the 2 indoor ones? Flight of Fear features 4 inversions and over 2,700 feet of twisted track, which makes for an awesome ride experience in the dark. It is really hard to believe that Flight of Fear was built way back in 1996. Now just imagine if Cedar Fair never purchased the Paramount Parks and Flight of Fear was indeed relocated to Carowinds as it was planned to under the Paramount ownership. What type of coaster do you think would have been built in this location of the park if Flight of Fear did indeed go to Carowinds? Let me know in the comments. I've always enjoyed Flight of Fear and I know you will as well. Number 4 is gonna shock you, but I have to say Grizzly. While it's not the longest or the fastest wooden coaster in the woods, King's Dominion's Grizzly is still an awesome ride, especially with all the work that King's Dominion just did on it. The park spent a lot of money on making the ride smoother and more enjoyable, but most notably the first drop is longer and steeper. Grizzly night rides are fantastic, and what makes this 87-foot tall wooden coaster so great, in my opinion, is the tunnel midway through the ride, which happens to be one of the best tunnels on a wooden coaster in my opinion. Whenever I visit King's Dominion, I'm always getting a ride on the Grizzly. I just really enjoy the overall setting of this coaster. Now if you enjoy coaster ranking videos like this, then you have to check out how I rank the coasters at Dollywood, Carowinds, and Cedar Point, and a few others. And you can find the link to those videos in the description of this one. Now it's time for the top 3 roller coasters at King's Dominion. Coming in at number 3, Dominator. Standing at a height of 157 feet, this B&M floorless coaster dominates the front of King's Dominion. And here's a fun fact. Did you know that Dominator has actually been thrilling riders since the year 2000 when the ride first opened at Six Flags Ohio as Batman Night Flight? And then in 2008, King's Dominion rebuilt the coaster and opened it up as Dominator. I was very lucky to be able to ride Dominator back when it first opened in the year 2000, which also happens to be my first time ever riding a B&M floorless. And ever since my first ride on it, I've always enjoyed this coaster. But what I love most about this coaster is the unique layout that doesn't focus only on flipping you upside down. For example, this high-speed low-to-the-ground turn right here is the highlight of Dominator for me. But you cannot talk about Dominator and not bring up the ride's very impressive first drop. It is one of the best first drops you're ever going to experience when you ride in the very back row on an outside seat. Number 2. Twisted Timbers. Opening in 2018, this RMC hybrid coaster is just a thing of beauty, and it's crazy to think that King's Dominion took this and turned it into this. And for that, I'm very, very thankful. The ride starts off with one of the best elements you're ever going to experience on a coaster, the barrel roll down drop inversion, where you actually go through the barrel roll as the train is going down the first drop, followed by a killer overbank turn, and then the best part of Twisted Timbers, airtime heaven. You're going to experience 3 back-to-back ejector airtime hills that are on par with the ones that you'll find on El Toro. The rest of Timbers' layout is filled with pops of airtime in every direction, head choppers, inversions, and even more airtime. Well done, King's Dominion, on creating a coaster that many would consider the best in the entire park. Now before I get to the number 1 coaster at King's Dominion, I just wanted to share that Volcano would be my second favorite coaster at the park if this intimate inverted coaster was still in operation. I really do miss the now defunct Volcano, and if you want to experience what the coaster was like, then check out the ride's official POV. And just like the other videos that I mentioned earlier, you can find a link for it in the description of this video. Number 1 is of course Intmidator 305. Built in 2010 and standing at a whopping height of 305 feet, Intmidator 305 is relentless from start to finish. King's Dominion's Giga Coaster, which was built by Intamin, offers one of the most intense coaster experiences that you're ever going to have. I have been riding this Giga since it first opened, and this is the only coaster in the world that I've experienced that I can only ride a few times in a row, then I need to take a break. Intmidator 305 is that intense. I cannot recommend enough taking a ride on I-305 in the very front row, and then you have to experience in the very back row. And trust me, there's a reason why this coaster is called Intmidator. Oh, and by the way, if you do gray out on the bottom of the first drop going around that crazy fast turn, don't worry, that's totally normal and happens to most of us. So that is how I rank the coasters of King's Dominion. Now I want to know, how do my rankings compare to yours? Be sure to let me know in the comments. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and of course, keep riding coasters.